Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is the Mayim in Atlanta. I want to start out here in Psalms 55 and verse 20. It says, He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him, that he, or the Edomites, says, He hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And went into that scripture because of Netanyahu's speech at the UN just yesterday. And people walked out on him as he was giving his speech. And it's because the world is waking up to the ways of the Edomites. The Edomites being the self-proclaimed white people, as well as those small hatters that are in the land causing all sorts of ruckus over there because they're trying to say that they are actually the people, but they are indeed the Idumeans, the biblical Edomites. They speak all these fair words and they come out beautifully. They're really well written, but it turns out after they speak it, war happens. And we got a great example of this with this UN speech, and then just a few hours later, what's his name, Bibi, or Netanyahu, sends out the order, and they destroy a part of Beirut and killed a Hezbollah leader with it. And so I want to get into
Thank you.
his speech and showing how they walked out on him. And so this is from CNN on TikTok. And let's start from the beginning.
The people of Israel live now, tomorrow, forever. Thank you.
You've been listening to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaking in front of the United Nations General Assembly. Not the entirety of the General Assembly, as many of those delegates walked out at the beginning of this very fiery speech from the Israeli Prime Minister. At one point, he referred to the United Nations as an anti-Semitic swamp, and he said the real war criminals are in Iran, Gaza, and Lebanon. So some very fiery words.
This was a defiant speech. He was speaking to a largely empty chamber. It was empty-ish before he got there. And then, as you noted, there were a couple of walkouts, including, according to our teams inside, from Malaysia, Indonesia, and Iran.
The people of Israel live now.
So you can see he's speaking. They're always trying to talk about peace, but they're making war on the earth, all throughout the earth. And they've done this for years, since they came out of the bottomless pit in the Renaissance, or the pit being Europe. And they have been nothing but bloody men on this earth. But we're coming into the time where they are about to be judged. And the Lord is revealing them to be the wicked, the sons of perdition, the devil upon the earth, devil going into deceiver, and all they do is deceive. Their whole rulership is set up upon lies, historic lies, placing themselves in places that they actually weren't, in lies, and calling themselves nations that they actually are not. And lies is in the thievery of different parts of the world. It's just lies and robbery, and they are being revealed, and people are starting to understand that they are the problem. They're the problem, that there's no peace on the earth. There's no peace in the so-called Middle East because these people are there. and they are the violent man, the bloody man. So, saw the walkout. They're being made bare. They're being looked at. They're being made into be insignificant. This is Obadiah 1 and 2. It says, "Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen." You go into that word small, it's going into both size but also significance. And their significance on the world stage has been changed. They have been the top of the nations, in which they still are, but people are looking at them as small. And they do have a very small population, these small hatters, and they're being made insignificant because what they say isn't how they actually act. It says, "Thou art greatly despised." And there's people walking out during the UN meetings. They're showing these people are despised. And that's all they have to look forward to. They've been at the top of the world for so long. They're at the top of all the different industries, from media and entertainment to the banking industry to precious metal industry, and at the top of all these different corporations. They're at the top of government, making all these decisions that usually turn out poorly. They're being brought down from that lofty position in which they're in. And this whole book, Obadiah, is speaking to the Edomites, the so-called small hatters, and the so-called Caucasians. They're being brought down, and they go into perdition, which is destruction. And it tells you why down here. Obadiah 1 and 10. "For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee," because Esau is the brother of Jacob. And Jacob's name was changed to Israel, and the Israelites make up the Negroes, the Latinos, and the Native Americans, as well as our scattered, because we've been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth as a curse. And so we are going to come back looking like all of the different nations, even of Bibi's nation. We're going to have brothers and sisters that were raised to think that they were Ishes, but they're not. They actually go back to the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But the Edomites do not go back to Jacob. They're his brother, which means that they are not a part of the blessings. It says, "For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee." And they've been committing violence on the Israelites for far too long, since they came out of the bottomless pit. And they've had us in slavery. They've stolen our lands. They stole our heritage. And people are starting to wake up to this. Not just the Israelites, but the world. It says, "And thou shalt be cut off forever," because Edom are the only nation that get no mercy from the Lord. And after the 1,000-year reign, their whole seed line will be taken off of the earth. But these wars are coming, and they're coming soon, because it's prophesied, and that's how the end of these times, these Gentile times, end. It ends through the Edomite rulership. This is Jeremiah 49 and verse 20. "Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord Yahweh, that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman." And this is all to bring them out of power. And this war that's about to get kicked off, which it won't get kicked off fully until the MOTB, or that digital RFID CHIP, is put into people and made mandatory. As soon as that happens, these wars are going to kick off and go crazy, and it's to bring down the heathen nations, and especially the Edomites, and then it's for the deliverance and salvation of the Israelites. He says that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. The least of the flock being those Amalekites or those small hatters, the 1948ers. That's the least of the flock. Their numbers are the lowest of the nation of Edom. And they speak about that, how small their population is. But they are the least of the flock, and they're going to kick off this war, the Battle of Armageddon, the Battle of Yahweh Shaphat. They're going to kick this off through their actions, and you could see they keep on. They can't stop murdering and bombing places, and there's eventually somebody's going to have to stop them. But the other Edomites, especially in Babylon the Great or America, they're going to back up their brothers in the land of Israel, and this is going to help start or kick off this whole war. It says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. And so these actions that they're doing currently are going to kick off this great war, and then the times are going to end through them. They're the ones that are going to be brought out of power, and they're the ones that are going into perdition. They're going into slavery after this. And people are starting to realize that this is the enemy. This is the problem of the whole earth. That they have any power whatsoever is the problem. But Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, or Chakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.